Do you think Pixar could make a bad movie? Like, do they even have it in them?
That's the first thought that came into my mind. Has Pixar made a bad movie?
I believe the answer is no.
Because I'm looking through the list right now, and the worst movie I've seen, at least in my opinion, has been A Bug's Life.
Oh,
And that was early on.
That was you can't even judge them by that anymore.
that was when they were CG cartoons.
Yeah, that was when they were just CG cartoons. And then the only movie I haven't seen, well, two movies actually, is Cars 2, three movies. Cars 2, Brave, and Monsters University.
I've only seen Brave of those, and Brave is really good.
I gotta
Okay.
be honest. I think the most recent Pixar I saw was Up, and it was
Okay.
so good.
Well, I like that.
You have to watch Toy Story 3. I mean, especially if you've seen the first ones. Toy Story 3 is what Star Wars, then the prequels should have been. It's still a movie for children, but it keeps in mind that its core audience has grown up. And the movie talks about things that we all experience as we age. I think that was done very well. Star Wars missed the opportunity on that one.
Yeah, and
And
now
I-
it looks like Pixar is gonna take on emotion.
Well, it's funny because like all their films are about emotions, and then this one's like literally
Yeah.
about emotions.
starring
Mhm.
starring what they've used to beat you over the head in everything else they've made. Now they're gonna say, "Here's how we did it."
Yeah, we've shown you sadness, and this is what she looks like.
Mm-hmm.
No, I think this will be another good. I mean, it's going to be another one of those like tear at your heartstrings type situation.
I can only hope.
Yeah.
The concept is fantastic.
What do you
That-
like about it?
It's the kind of story where you hear it, somebody describes it to you, and your first reaction is, well, how has that not been done yet? Because it seems obvious. Looking back on it, it's like somebody should have done this by now. And I have to ask that question: has anybody done this? Because I don't know. Has this been done? It has to have been done to some capacity, right?
I can't think of any movie I've seen where like personalities are, emotions are characterized like by people.
Yeah.
I mean, like there's like the split personality where like
Mm-hmm.
half of them becomes evil, like they get split into two, and there's like
Mhm.
one's evil and one's good, and they have to work together.
You have a beautiful mind, did something like that, I guess, if you want to go that route.
and like
Yeah.
they have to understand. Well, I mean, it's the same concept in general, where like you're split into two personalities, and you have to understand the other to get along, and then they like recombine type thing.
Yeah. And that is essentially what a lot of movies break down to. You have conflicting character personalities, which are not the same person, but actual different people working together. And it seems to ultimately boil down to that.
Yeah.
Although you're breaking a person down into their emotions, a lot of the movie, or at least what we've seen from the trailer, seems to be from the perspective of the emotions. So in that sense, they're all different people, and they're essentially just working together the way that characters might work together in a regular movie.
I am interested to see if happiness will always be happy, or if they'll like.
That's a concern I have too, because
Are you worried?
Go ahead.
Are you worried they're gonna make them seven dwarves? Is that your concern? Or?
No, it's not a concern. It's a catch-22. So one being, if you want to be accurate to the rules that you've established in your world, then joy can only be joy, right?
Right.
But if joy is a character, that character has a responsibility to be more than one dimension. True or false?
No, that's true. That's my conflict for this movie is, in Finding Nemo, the fish that always loses her memory,
Mm-hmm.
like she's always just happy the whole time, and like that's the point of her, is like she's always positive. Like I don't know if you can keep that joke going for 5 characters. Like
I don't think you can. I don't think you want to, honestly. I think you have to bend the rules a little bit.
yeah, I mean, like you can expect the scene where happiness shows sadness, why her memories are still good memories,
Mm-hmm.
and like that's where there's going to be like some like intertwining of the two emotions, where it's like sad. It's like, I'm always just sad and I want to be happy one day. And it's like, no, look, this is your emotion. That like, this is a good emotion, like her grandpa dying or something like that. Like she wants that. That's a good emotion to have. I think that's going to be some intertwined, but I don't know if happiness is going to be sad one day.
Maybe. She has to.
I don't see it
just
happening.
has to happen.
I don't necessarily think so. I think
who's the protagonist of this story, really?
We'll find out.
It seems to be Joy from the trailer. Anyway.
Yeah.
I think so, but I think that instead of like I think they can somehow add depth to the characters besides giving them a broad range of emotions. Like,
well, that's what people are. That's what
you're right.
characters are.
You're right, and that's what this movie appears to be about. Is about the battling group of forces that make up your emotional state day by day, second by second. Think about Javier Bardem's character in No Country for Old Men, though.
Okay.
He was not a one-dimensional flat character. Other than that, he was. In his case, everything was entirely devoid of emotion. So the emotion that he carried out throughout the entire thing was nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So you can make delightful interactions between characters who just have ratcheted up predispositions.
I think that what that film does well is that although everything we see on screen is of one note, there's an indication of his life beyond what we see on screen. His backstory, if you will.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I see that. And I think the same goes with this. I think it's very possible.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that it'll have to do more with, instead of giving range to the emotions, making them work together to form a coherent thing.
Mm-hmm.
And
although it is really tough to spur Joy to action if Joy is just joyous all the time. There's not a lot of motive to do anything else.
And that's why you kind of have to bend the rules a little bit.
yeah, I mean, well, that might be just we were talking about how like you can make movies for kids and adults, and Pixar does that better than anybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they do.
And maybe that's where like those overtones for adults will come in, where like if a kid watched it, Happy was happy the whole time, but if an adult watched it, they could see like cracks in the happiness type thing. Like where like happiness isn't happy all the time, like even in real life.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, I just went super deep on you guys.
Yeah, man. Wow.
I love it. My favorite part of this trailer, and I'm the last person to say this, but I love the way they casted the voices, because they chose the most stereotypical angry person you can name.
Yeah, that's true.
Who is Lewis Black?
Yeah,
right. Like that's his thing. That's his shtick.
And Amy Poehler.
That's her thing.
Yeah.
And that being said, I can't think of any of the other characters.
Bill Hader is scared.
Bill Hader is fear. Yeah, which is not his personality, but he could play the wild card, as it were.
But I saw the names for the cynical girl and the sad girl, but I don't recall. I know the cynical girl, I didn't recognize her name at all, but maybe the sad girl. But no, it'll be interesting to see how much they deal with like where the girl in real life is going through bad times and she doesn't know why, like which happens to people where they just have like anxiety attacks and things where they just can't handle it. And I would be interested to see how well they go through those parents dealing with her just being in a funk and like can't get out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I just think more that Disney's trying to save the world right now. This is the way it really seems. They're getting us to explore the antagonist's motivations with Cinderella. And now here, they're getting us to explore the root of our emotions. It's going to be a cognitive therapy session, is what I anticipate from this movie.
I also like that
they own Pixar. Remind me.
Yeah, Pixar is a Disney studio.
Yeah, Pixar, Disney.
That's good.
It's also interesting. I like how the parents have the exact same emotions, but like they've all developed differently. Like, like the father, like he's like watching hockey, and he's like, "Oh shoot, like, what is she looking at us for?
Nice,
we missed one." Yeah.
And it seems like their emotional range is played by the same characters in their heads. It seems like the same cast plays the emotions.
I didn't notice that the voices were the same, but I'd be interested to see that. But yeah, like, and then like all the mom, like.
No, they're different. I'm looking at it now.
Oopsie poopsie.
Or at least this one is. They have a credit titled mom's sadness,
Okay.
father's fear.
Ah.
Yeah. So, Diane Lane plays the mom.
Oh, nice.
So, always a selling point,
Yeah, always.
even on an animated film.
Yeah, I wonder why she was so unbelievably attractive to me.
Yeah, just something about her
Yeah.
voice. I just couldn't place it until
Yeah.
now.
So who's playing the sadness? Did you see that?
Yeah, it's. I haven't seen her in anything else but The Office, but it's the chubby woman,
Okay. Yeah, I know
Yeah.
who you're talking about.
and sure,
Her
I
voice
guess.
matches that.
Mm-hmm.
And then the cynical girl. Have you seen her in anything else?
There's one named Disgust.
Yeah, that's the one.
Disgust is Mindy Kaling, who is also from The Office, and
The blonde secretary.
No. No, you know her. It's the Indian
Oh, okay.
Comedic
Mindy.
actress.
Oh, Mindy. My bad.
Mindy. Yeah, the Mindy Project.
Yeah, the Mindy project.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Yeah, that's a good cast. That's pretty good.
Yeah,
And that means they have.
all-star cast.
Yeah, they probably contributed to the writing, if not directly,
Hmm.
but indirectly.
Interesting.
You think?
Oh, I mean, like Mindy, like all three, like Polar, Mindy, and the Office chick. I can imagine them thinking of better lines.
Oh, just in the recording booth, going off script and
Yeah.
driving the writing staff
You could
and
see that
director
happen, sure.
insane.
Yeah.
You might be able to answer this for computer animated. Do they do voice and then?
They always do voice first.
Okay.
For animations.
Okay, cool. And then so yeah, like I'm sure like we probably got more out of all these characters because of who they picked.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Unless Pixar's like, no, stick to the script. Like
I kind of don't think they
Yeah.
would do that, especially with John Lasseter heading Pixar.
yeah, they seem like a
Yes.
fun crowd.
Yeah.
They like organic.
So being Pixar, you're already sold. Like you don't need anything else.
Yeah, they could not put a commercial out for this at all, and then they say
Right. Just say Pixar has a new film.
just a black screen that says Pixar movie, and I'd be like, okay,
Right.
whenever, just sign me up. Yeah,
Having seen the trailer though, how do you sell this to somebody? What it looks good to you?
I think this is a harder sell than others because like Up, you can say, oh, it's about the guy gets in a house and gets sent on an adventure, or Brave is like a girl and her mother having an adventure as bears and stuff like. But
Mhm.
this is just like, and then they walk through emotions and
Yeah, like-
like they walk through the halls of memories, and it's like it's a tougher sell unless you see it, and then when you
Mhm.
see it, you're like, oh, they have
Like,
the magic again.
that's what you meant when you said it's an invitation to a therapy session.
Yeah.
It's gonna be fun.
So if this movie was everything, but it said brought to you by Sony or brought to you by Warner Brothers, you would still know it's a Pixar movie, right? Like you would just be like, oh, they're trying to rip off Pixar. Does that make sense? Like this?
No.
Really?
Well, I don't know. I don't understand what you're saying.
Like this screams Pixar? Like there's nothing not Pixar about it? Like the characters, the presentation, everything about it's Pixar-y?
Sure. Okay.
Actually, what's weird to me is that this has a lot more. This doesn't look like it's gonna sell as many toys. That's the confusing thing about this whole thing to
Oh,
me.
you just saw the unicorn. She's going to be on sale for sure.
Maybe, or that's a bit joke. And
They'll
In and
still
out.
put her for sale.
yeah,
do you
good
think
point.
it'll be so hard to sell these characters?
I think that, just in my opinion, they have kind of a generic look to them. Like they don't look like every other.
What are you talking about right now? You're talking about the actual people, the humans.
I'm talking about the emotions.
I
they-
don't think they look generic.
Yeah,
No.
they have. It's my opinion. I'm sorry, you can't have
Okay.
it.
What they
Yeah.
what they do have is the ability to be made cheaply, but sold at the same price as the Brave.
There
doll.
you go.
Mhm.
Exactly.
So, as far as asking, you could get like $10 for happiness, and she's just a little plain old thing that costs 50 cents to make.
Yeah, and I don't know.
I don't know. I don't think Pixar is always trying to push toys like Up. There's no.
You're out of your mind. Disney is a toy company.
I get what you're saying, but I didn't see like Disney's trying to sell toys, but I don't see Pixar particularly being like, and we got to make it, like they don't. It's not like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles where that was made to sell toys. This is
Mhm.
totally different. Where like Pixar's going to tell their story and then kind of give it to Disney to figure out how they're going to make toys for it. The what else? I mean, Toy Story did it make? I mean, like that was probably
it was about toys, and then
Yeah.
you could buy them.
Well, no, that's what I'm
it
saying.
was
Like,
Toy
no,
Story.
what I'm saying is Toy Story is the only one I can think of. Like toys, the cars.
Planes,
Monsters
Cars,
Universe, Cars, all
Monsters, Inc.
everything. I think
Brave.
I don't-
All of them, each character has its own real vivid personality, and these little guys, the emotion ones, just look like icons. They look
Yeah, that's true.
I don't
like
know,
they
man.
lack the
I don't see where you get that. They lack what?
they lack the finish and polish and just real individual traits that other Pixar characters have had. Like they would visually fall closer to the Bugs Life appeal, where it's kind of like,
Uh-huh.
like look, we have computers and we can make cartoons. And I think that with the cast and everything about the movie, it'll be great to watch. But even watching the trailer, if I didn't see Pixar roll before the beginning of it, I probably wouldn't be all that interested.
Really?
Really, even though one, I'm not huge on animation. Just either way,
Okay.
like there's a high likelihood I won't go see this
Mm-hmm.
just because I don't like going to the theater to see an animated movie. It's kind of I don't have kids, so
Oh, I watch all the animated movies. That's
Yeah.
for sure. Like that's my like Pixar above. I didn't watch Frozen in theaters because
you're a sexist
the
monster.
preview looked so bad. Like the only preview I ever saw for Frozen was them fighting over a carrot over a pond, and I was like, "What is this about? I don't care." And then it ends up being amazing. I was
Yeah.
super mad. Like that was a horrible preview. Like I guess I do.
Speaking of which, Frozen Fever, pretty good. I enjoyed it.
Okay,
The song wasn't that good.
Frozen Fever. At some point, they have to recognize that Elsa's making sentient beings, and
Right.
that's an issue.
I'm sorry, what's Frozen Fever?
Frozen Fever is like a 10-minute short film
Yeah,
that is playing before other films, specifically Cinderella.
Right.
I'm not sure where
no,
else.
this was for Cinderella. Like
It's specifically Cinderella?
yeah, Disney does this when
Okay.
they have a movie. They sell a short, and usually it's the short that wins best short at the Oscars. Like,
Okay.
but this one in particular, I think, was to sell Cinderella better because I think Cinderella was coming out kind
Yeah.
of flat in reviews, so
Right.
like they knew that they had to put like something that sells like Frozen.
Uh-huh.
Like, hey, an exclusive Frozen short.
Exactly.
Right.
Whereas other ones, like you don't hear about the short at all, and then when you watch it, you're like crying before the movie's even started. You're like, God, why did they do this? to
Why
me?"
do they do this to me?
Yeah, but yeah, like Elsa's sneezing and making life.
Yeah, so she has a cold,
Yeah.
and every time she sneezes, she generates 3 living beings. Have you seen Frozen?
I have not.
Okay,
Oh, it's
well-
amazing.
Yeah, Frozen, that's Disney,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, Frozen's probably the best Disney movie in a while,
Yeah. But she creates life
I would say.
twice there.
She
like,
creates life twice in that movie.
Yeah, and everyone's okay with it. Like
What's wrong with that?
it's
Are you
something
sure?
that
You
has
have
to
to
be
remember that he is super religious. Goes against his
Oh
Christian
my
morals.
God. One.
No,
not
that makes
super
sense.
Religious,
I don't-
but I do my
Yeah.
most
Remember the whole pimp discussion we had?
that's a very good
Yeah.
point. I see.
because that has something
Like,
to do with religion.
What's all this sexuality doing in our
Oh
films? We
my
need more
gosh.
wholesome violence.
That's not how I am. The most interesting thing about religion is that if you were created by God or if you're created by people, or like if you just naturally occurred, that's an interesting conversation to always have because like what's really controlling you, like God or natural whatever.
Okay.
Yeah. But with Elsa, she's making life and like these things have personalities.
and they're like her boogers.
Yeah, essentially. But okay, so why does that concern you?
Well, it's not like
Just put it into
I'm not-
layman's terms for us.
okay.
'cause I
I'm
don't
not saying
understand.
that's a negative thing.
Okay.
But it would be the biggest, like her, like they're like, oh wow, she creates ice, and it's like she creates life. Like ice is on the like lower end of the scale of things that are awesome
Yeah.
that she's doing right now. Like,
Any water will freeze at less
Yeah,
than 32
yeah.
degrees.
she's caking nothing and giving life to things. That's a bigger deal. Like
Yeah.
that's the only reason I think that like what's being played up in this is like no one's like acknowledged like, hey,
They haven't taken advantage of the fact that she can create an army
yeah.
for some
Ah.
purpose.
Yeah, or something that like needs to know his purpose in life, like
Yeah.
the snowman. Like, what's his
Right.
purpose? Like,
Isn't that American of us to immediately be like, God, she doesn't even realize she could militarize this technology.
Yeah. yeah. But no, that's my like. It's not a big beef. It's just like I can't imagine people going, "Oh wow, she can make an ice fountain. That's pretty cool." It's like, dude, this guy's walking around and
Right.
like talking, and he has opinions. Is everyone okay with that?
Yeah,
Like, that's a bigger deal in the grand spectrum thing. She
I
could
see.
remake a planet of living organisms if she wanted. Like, that's way bigger on the
I see.
impressive scale.
So it's not that people should be bothered by
Oh,
it.
no,
It's that
absolutely
people
not.
should stand in awe
Yeah,
of this.
exactly. It's not a negative thing. She can do what she wants. I just think that
Or was it like a public service announcement saying, hey, cover your cough, cover your sneeze, you are spreading life?
yeah, oh, that's a good point too.
Yeah.
I
So
don't
it
know.
should be disturbing.
Yeah, maybe. I
Did
don't
you
know.
like let out a violent sneeze into the theater and have it sprinkle down on the
Well,
people
no,
in front of you?
My wife already knew my issue with Elsa from the first, and then like this whole fever thing is like her just emphasizing the fact over and over again that like she's creating little not human beings, but little pieces of life, and I'm like, oh my god, no one thinks this is awesome. They're like, oh, and then like she has like a castle of shame that she sends them to at the end, like,
Right.
oh, send that up there with all those other living things.
They
that
did
have-
discuss it in Frozen though, to some extent, because the snowman, spoiler,
yeah.
was melting,
Oh,
and
she saved it.
She saved him. She gave him the ability to always be frozen
Right.
in any season.
Yeah, but like, no, it's not like I have no beef with the fact that she's creating life. I'm not I'm not being religious about that.
It did enter the conversation though,
Yeah,
at some point.
yeah. I just think it's funny, like what they're impressed by is so not what should be being discussed at the moment.
Got it.
I love the idea that Pixar repeatedly talks about what it is to be alive. For example, Toy Story, and talking about how we're all going through the same thing. And so Inside Out does that again. I'm always up for it.
Yeah. Oh, and regardless of character design, I mean, I think they're going to do it in really intelligent fashion, and you're probably going to genuinely laugh and get a little misty-eyed sitting in your theater seat, wiping tears from the
Probably.
corners of your eyes.
I walked into Wall-E thinking I was going to hate it, and then like I cried at the end of that one too.
You know, I didn't see that either.
Oh, it's so
I
good.
don't. I just like if we're watching someone's kids, or like, you know, like if there's
Yeah.
little kids in my house, we'll watch animated stuff. But there's not frequently little
It's
kids
this
in my
adorable
house.
little guy with the voice from Number 5 in Short Circuit, just saying.
I also watched
"Eva."
Short Circuit in the last 10 years, and it does not hold up at all.
Yeah.
That's not a surprise.
Oh, so you did see Chappie? No.
Oh, okay.
yeah.
All right, now I see.
Yeah.
Man,
Mm.
Yeah. No, I'll watch it, but just it would be harder to sell than others. I think not for me. It's just Pixar, and I'm good.
All right. So you're saying if you like Pixar movies, you like this Pixar movie.
I could only assume.